The room wasn't completely quiet anymore. Questions were flying rapidly from every direction, creating a whirlwind of curiosity. One determined reporter immediately asked about the controversial foul. Another impatiently jumped straight to the scoreboard, seeking answers. Suddenly, someone casually brought up the commissioner's cup as if nothing serious or unexpected had just happened, adding an extra layer of tension to the chaotic scene.
WNBA history from last night. Breanna Stewart balled out as the Seattle Storm beat the Connecticut Sun in the WNBA's inaugural Commissioner's Cup.
Chaos filled the room as voices overlapped. Answers were abruptly cut short, and right in the middle of that overwhelming noise, one name kept hanging heavily in the air: Sophie Cunningham. No clear explanation, no clean or satisfying answer, just scattered fragments. A flagrant call here, a sudden suspension there, and then complete silence from the league. Cameras kept rolling relentlessly, but something undeniably felt off. This wasn't just about a single play or one heated moment on the court. A teammate was gone. A strong message had clearly been sent. And Caitlyn Clark, she didn't say much, but her subtle reaction revealed an entirely different story. Was this really about basketball, or was something quietly being handled behind closed doors? Stay with us closely because what comes next exposes a truth many are desperately avoiding. The moment that shifted everything forever. The play itself didn't look historic at first glance. Fast breaks, players darting furiously across the court, sweat dripping, sneakers squeaking loudly, fans holding their breath tensely. The energy was electric and intense, yet normal for a high-stakes WNBA game. Sophie Cunningham, calm yet fiercely determined, positioned herself exactly where she always had, forming an unbreakable wall between her teammates and danger. Physical, protective, unapologetic, and commanding respect. That had been her signature move consistently for years. Her teammates trusted her instinctively without question. Opponents knew to tread carefully, aware of her presence. Sophie wasn't reckless, but she never backed down either. Then the whistle blew. A sharp, sudden sound that seemed unnaturally louder than normal. Time slowed for a split second. Cameras zoomed in. The crowd murmured anxiously, and then everything dramatically shifted. Reviews began instantly. Officials whispered urgently behind closed doors.
The foul, I love her toughness, and now they want to review it. They want a double technical I see the review signal.
Confusion rippled through the players as they glanced at each other, unsure of what was happening. Fans leaned forward in tense anticipation, trying desperately to figure out what had triggered such rapid and unexpected decisions. Nobody had been expecting what came next. Before anyone could fully comprehend it, the shocking announcement was made. Sophie Cunningham was no longer in the game. Not a foul, not a warning, not a temporary suspension. Gone, completely removed. The court felt instantly emptier. One moment she had been fiercely defending her teammate, making sure every inch of space was protected. The next, she had vanished from the lineup entirely. For viewers at home, the shock wasn't in the call itself. It was in how fast and sudden it happened. The abruptness left questions dangling unanswered, hanging over the arena like thick smoke. WNBA fans are used to physicality. Hard screens, elbows that fly just on the edge of legality, emotional reactions that flare during tense moments, all part of the sport. Yet this wasn't just another rough play. Something about the decision undeniably felt off. Perhaps it was the timing. Perhaps it was the context. Sophie wasn't reckless. She had not crossed a line she hadn't crossed countless times before. But this time the consequences were strikingly different. Inside the arena, murmurs turned into whispers. Commentators struggled to make sense of it in real time, their voices overlapping. Some focused on the game stats, while others tried to read the body language of Caitlyn Clark, who had been standing nearby. The rookie star's eyes flickered repeatedly toward where Sophie had been moments ago, betraying a mixture of surprise and concern.
And Cunningham is upset. Cunningham has her second personal, and she might pick up a technical foul if she's not careful.
A tight jaw clenched, a pause, a small exhale. That quiet moment carried more weight than any words could convey. Observers began sensing that this wasn't just about one play. It reflected the larger story of loyalty, trust, power, and the subtle politics of a league under scrutiny. This season had already been tense. Every game felt magnified, every decision analyzed, A league trying to grow yet constantly under a microscope. Ratings climbed, arenas filled faster than ever, cameras trained on every dribble and pass. Amid it all, Caitlyn Clark had become a phenomenon, records broken wherever she played. Crowds roaring, social media ablaze with highlights, memes, and heated discussions. Suddenly, every play involving her and her teammates carried extra weight. Sophie Cunningham's removal landed squarely in the storm. It wasn't just a referee's call. It felt like a statement. Timing in sports can shift perception completely. The speed and decisiveness of the action amplified emotions. Shock into anger for some, confusion for others, and quiet, simmering concern for the players themselves. Suddenly, court dynamics shifted. Every possession, every play, every pass felt heavier. Caitlyn Clark, focused on her game, had to manage not only the physical challenge, but also the absence of the teammate who had always backed her up. Trust is invisible, yet its absence is instantly felt. It was about timing, the fragility of trust, and the pressure when a team's world collides with public scrutiny. In professional sports, timing is everything, and here it didn't just influence a single game, it reshaped the conversation around loyalty, fairness, and leadership. Throughout my career, I've realized one truth. You always want to become a better leader. A moment on the court reminded everyone watching, fans, players, and league officials alike, that even in fast-paced games, the smallest decision at the right moment can echo far beyond the final buzzer. Sophie Cunningham's role is often overlooked. To understand why reactions were so intense, you first have to understand Sophie herself. She has never been quiet or the type to blend into the background, waiting for others to act. Sophie brings far more than points to the board. Her value isn't measured in statistics alone. It's measured in edge, energy, and protection. The presence that makes her teammates feel safer and more confident. She steps in where others hesitate, takes the pressure head-on, and gives her all, even when unnoticed or unappreciated by the wider audience. Every team has at least one player like this. The one who stands in the path when things get rough, absorbing the heat so the stars, scorers, and playmakers can shine without fear. That has always been Sophie. She takes hits, physical and mental, and keeps moving forward because she understands the game, loyalty, and that the team comes before personal glory. When Caitlyn Clark entered the league, dynamics shifted almost immediately. Arenas grew louder, cameras followed her everywhere, and every game carried heavier weight. Attention surged, and with it, pressure. Defenders became sharper, fouls harsher, and the margin for error smaller. Physical intensity escalated, at times teetering on the edge of unfair. The pace was relentless. Every player on the floor was tested. Sophie noticed it. Her teammates noticed it. Anyone who understood basketball at that level could see it, even if casual fans didn't. Then came the moment Sophie reacted, doing exactly what she had always done. She defended, protected, and intervened. At the end of the day, I protect my teammates. That's what I do. I'm a team player, she said. But this time, fans and critics saw it differently. Some labeled it recklessness, others called it aggression, while few understood the context. For those following the season closely, the story was clear. This wasn't recklessness, it was loyalty. Loyalty that usually binds teams together and is celebrated. Yet here it was met with punishment. The league's response puzzled and frustrated many. Why would behavior long accepted as part of the game suddenly become unacceptable? For years, Sophie had played hard, defending teammates and maintaining her energy and edge without incident. Now, just as Caitlyn Clark rose to stardom, the same physical and protective play was suddenly called into question. The timing made the situation even more striking. Everything about the moment was magnified. The league was under a microscope, and attention from media and fans was more intense than ever. Sophie's actions collided with the charged climate. What might have gone unnoticed in a quieter season became a headline. A decision that might have passed in another era now felt explosive. The question became unavoidable. Why now? Why did the league choose this moment to intervene in behavior that had existed for years? Fans, analysts, and players wondered whether this was about rules, optics, or controlling attention. Whatever the reason, the answer is complicated, reflecting not just on Sophie Cunningham, but on how the league handles loyalty, protection, and the players who carry that burden every night. Sophie's role has always been clear to attentive viewers, yet the story behind it is often ignored by the wider world. Understanding her importance explains why the reaction was so intense and why fans and teammates question the league's decision so deeply. Sophie is more than just a player. She is a presence, a protector, and a force that has quietly shaped games for years. In the WNBA, success demands not only basketball skill but also endurance, toughness, and resilience. And now suddenly that force was being questioned, and the timing couldn't have been more significant. Caitlyn Clark's reaction spoke louder than words. She didn't explode, no shouting, no finger-pointing, no angry quote for headlines. Instead, she did what she had done all season. Showed up, played the game, and stayed professional. On the surface, everything seemed calm, but closer attention revealed subtle frustration. Her post-game answers became shorter, more careful. She paused longer, choosing words cautiously. When questions turned to Sophie Cunningham, her eyes dropped or she shifted in her seat. Not confusion, but clear disappointment. That feeling didn't arise randomly. All season, Caitlyn had faced relentless pressure. Defenders stayed glued. Bodies bumped her off balance. Hard fouls accumulated. And every night brought new challenges under watchful eyes. Yet she moved forward without complaint, rising after hits, running back on defense, staying locked in. That endurance requires more than skill. It requires trust. Trust that the game is fair, the league has your back, and teammates can protect you when boundaries are crossed. When Sophie Cunningham stepped in, that trust felt unshakably solid. It felt as if someone had always been willing to take the risk so Caitlyn could do her job, and suddenly that support vanished. That changes everything, not in a way a stat sheet can measure, but in a way players feel deeply. Emotional safety matters as much as physical safety. Knowing someone stands with you makes a difference, and when that layer disappears, a player must adjust mentally. Caitlyn didn't react loudly. She didn't need to. Instead, the weight settled in, her focus grew heavier, her expressions more guarded. She was processing more than just the next opponent. She was evaluating the environment and what it meant moving forward. Stars often carry anger quietly. It doesn't always show in dramatic ways. Sometimes it becomes resolve, sometimes distance, sometimes a long pause before answering a simple question. That's what made Caitlyn's reaction so powerful. It wasn't a scene, it was a signal. Even when she went over to Sophie Cunningham saying, "I'm sorry I didn't hit a bomb for you," the emotion was quiet, contained, yet unmistakable. Anger doesn't always shout. Sometimes it settles in silence. The WNBA is in a complicated position. Ratings are climbing, arenas filling, jerseys flying off shelves, social media buzzing. Caitlyn Clark's arrival didn't create all of this, but her talent, presence, and ability to draw attention amplified momentum that had been building for years, pulling even casual fans in, adjusting network schedules, and catching advertisers' eyes. Everything moved faster than anyone could have anticipated. But there's another side to the story. Growth brings attention, and attention brings scrutiny. The league now feels pressure to maintain control. Image matters more than ever, and officials, coaches, and league leaders are under constant observation. Every decision is examined, every comment amplified. Rules must be enforced carefully, and players are expected to present a polished front. There's little room for mistakes. Even in the heat of a live game, every choice sends a signal. Every action is interpreted. Discipline isn't just discipline. It's a statement. Silence isn't just silence. It's a message. When Sophie Cunningham was removed so quickly, the league may have thought it was protecting its image. On paper it might have seemed tidy, but for fans and observers it felt different. It didn't feel fair, it didn't feel justified. Instead of protecting trust or ensuring safety, it looked like optics were prioritized over context, order over loyalty. The timing made it feel deliberate. Decisions like this carry consequences, creating distance between players and leadership, and sending a clear message that even loyalty, protection, and teamwork can be overruled for the sake of appearance. Fans noticed it too. They consistently exceed expectations, amazing performances, and always showing gratitude to return, appreciate the arena, and connect with fans. Players feel it when they're favorites. Yet when acting in the team's best interest, they are sometimes punished, leaving questions about whether the league values image over fairness, passion, and competition. Growth in sports doesn't come solely from stars' talent. It comes from culture, and culture stems from trust, support, and knowing players are protected when doing the right thing. That culture can't survive if players feel exposed, unsupported, or second-guessed for choices made on the court. Right now, the WNBA walks a tightrope, balancing rapid growth with control, image with authenticity, and rules with loyalty. How the league navigates this moment could shape not just the rest of the season, but the future of women's basketball. This isn't about one game, a single call, foul, or even one player. At first glance, the moment might seem like another highlight or lowlight, but it signals something far bigger: precedent. How a league responds under pressure, high emotions, and stakes larger than the court. Players are watching closely. Every move, every reaction, every decision is being watched. Future stars, the players who will one day carry the league forward, are learning silently from what unfolds. They notice what happens when someone protects a teammate and whether loyalty is rewarded or punished. Inconsistent rule enforcement sends a message, and messages like that linger. Will teammates hesitate next time someone steps up? Will they think twice before acting to protect a friend? Will stars feel the weight of pressure, knowing the league may not always have their back? These questions don't belong solely to Caitlyn Clark or Sophie Cunningham. They belong to every player hoping to thrive in a professional environment where fairness and trust matter. Caitlyn represents more than scoring records or highlight reels. Cunningham works behind the play, creating space, absorbing heat, and allowing teammates like Clark to shine. She symbolizes a new era in the league, not just in talent but in attention. With more eyes watching, more cameras recording, and fans analyzing every move, the stakes are higher than ever. How the WNBA handles moments like this will shape the era, defining expectations for conduct, protection, and support, and influencing how stars approach the league, aware of the risks in defending teammates. Fans too are part of this story. They don't just connect to statistics or flashy plays. They connect to the stories behind the highlights, to loyalty, fairness, and integrity. Right now, many feel something important has been mishandled. Sophie Cunningham's rapid removal left an impression that the league values image over support, rules over context, optics over loyalty. That feeling lingers, fueling debate, concern, and conversation. The season will continue. Scores will change, wins and losses will pile up. But this moment, this decision, this clash between players and league authority will remain. It will influence how players approach the court in coming months, how fans interpret the league, and perhaps how the WNBA is shaped for years. Some moments fade quickly into the rhythm of a season. Others leave an indelible mark. This is one of the latter. The question isn't only about what happened. It's about what it signals for the future, for loyalty, trust, and the next generation already watching closely. Missing games or a season would be devastating to the league's future. Moments like these don't fade. They settle into memory and resurface when trust is tested again. Caitlyn Clark will keep playing, drawing crowds and carrying expectations few rookies face. But the way this situation unfolded leaves a mark not just on her, but on the league itself. Sophie Cunningham's absence wasn't merely a roster move. It was a statement. It was a signal. And in professional sports, signals carry more weight than any official statement ever could. The WNBA stands at a critical turning point. Growth has arrived, attention is undeniable, but so is scrutiny, sharper than ever before. Every decision now shapes not just how the league is perceived today, but how it will be remembered years from now. The question isn't whether rules should exist, they must, but whether fairness, context, and understanding can coexist alongside them, because stars come and go, but trust, once broken, is almost impossible to fully restore. Every moment, every call, every consequence sends a message to players, fans, and even future generations of athletes who are watching and learning. The weight of these signals is enormous. They teach what behavior is rewarded, what is punished, and what it truly means to stand for your team. As fans leaned in, they weren't just watching the scoreboard. They were watching the subtle choices, the reactions, and the invisible forces shaping the league, understanding that the decisions made in a single instant could ripple far beyond the court, influencing loyalty, culture, and the future of women's basketball itself.